Hi, I'm back, and I'm left you off at putting my page sections together. So all four of my page pieces are together with their pockets high and low on each side, and they fit real nicely together when you look at them from the side view. And I don't know if I said anything previously about the size difference between the top page and the bottom page, but that's what's necessary to have space to fit onto the spine, or the what is that thing called? Hinge. The hinges, that's it, the hinges. And still allow you to be able to open this side. I think I will cut a finger notch on both sides of this above the pocket. And it would make it a lot easier both to pull out the tag we're going to make to put in here and to lift this page, I think. So we're going to do that. But all four of mine are together, and we're ready to do the hinge. And I just took my hinge paper with me. So the hinge piece is 6 3/4 by 6 1/2. The 6 1/2 is from the height of the page, and the 6 3/4 is how much paper we need to get enough spaces for the hinge to work. So I have a completed one, but I just wanted to start you off with how to score the individual pieces. So I think I'm in frame there. So we would start at 3/4. This is the part that will get glued onto the front cover. Then we would go again to 1 inch, and that is our first little space between pages. This will give us a space from the front cover to the first page in case it gets bulky. We have some room. Then we're going to go a 1/2 inch and another 1/2 inch up to 2. So we're at 1 1/2 and 1 and 2, and those are the first. Let me show you how this will be folded. We'll fold this one up and this one up, and then we'll fold these two like this, and this one like this, and that's the part that will go inside of our pages when this is all glued together. But we see we'll have a little space when the book is closed between the front of the book and the actual page, if you can see from that view maybe. And then, so the next score would be a 1/4 inch, and I have all of these in the page in the description section below, on all of the videos. So it's 3/4, 1/2, 1 1/2, 2, 2 1/4, 2 3/4, 3 1/4, 3 1/2, 4, 4 1/2, 4 1/4, etc., until you get to 6 3/4, or until you get to 6, and then that's your last score, and you have 3/4 of an inch to put on the back cover. And when it's all done and you've got it all glued together or taped together, whichever you prefer to do, it looks like this. We have 4 hinges and space before and after the hinges start, and between each of the hinges we have a 1/4 inch. So the whole thing amounts to 1 1/4 inches wide when it's all said and done, and that's the width of our hinge, or our spine. Now, for gluing this into the book, you can do a couple of different things. Let me get this out of the way. You can glue it, like I just said. You can use score tape or any other adhesive, dry adhesive like that. You can use just about anything, but I like to use the red liner tape. And let me find what I do with my scissors. Oh, I know where I put them. too organized. I can't find things. And I start on that first 1/4 inch space. If I can find my tape. With a piece of this red line tape, and I go right in between the score lines and do the whole thing. And it's basically 5 pieces of red line tape. I hope I'm still in the frame. I might not have been, but hopefully I am now. So I put all 5 pieces between the lines, and you do not want to cover up your seams, so to speak, or your pages won't turn easily. And trust me, I know that for a fact. So we just go on, and that's the last one. Then I like to take my bone folder and really give that a good smush. Burnish them in there. The secret to any sticky tape, whether it's the cheap stuff from China or the really expensive score tape or the red line tape, to me, is this right here. It's giving it a good burnish. If you do that, they all work pretty well. I mean, there's some really nasty ones, that's true, but for the most part, that's the case. So, we can lay that aside now and work on our cover. The cover pieces, I use chipboard that I get on Amazon from Graphics, Grafix. It's 12 by 12, heavy or medium weight is what they call it, but it is a nice sturdy. It's nearly an 1/8 of an inch thick, and I like it. It's got some, well, a piece that narrow it doesn't, but when you cut it this big, 6.5 by 6.5, it has some heft. So then my cover, or my cardstock is cut at 8.5 by 8, 2 pieces, and I have already applied a piece of red line tape here to join these two together at this approximately the center of the spine. So I'm going to peel this backing off. Hope it doesn't give me fits and stick to me all for the next 20 minutes. And then just lay these over lay this one over the top, and join them together, just like that. And again, burnishing. So there we have it, a nice join. Now, for a placement guide for the chipboard, I like to score, and I learned this from Ginger, my sister Scrapper, here on YouTube. She places a score line just in the corner here on this first section. She goes at 3/4 of an inch and comes down, turns the page, and I'm not going to put it in the whole way because it won't, well, it will, okay. And then goes to another 3/4 of an inch and comes down. And now that gives you a place to put the corner of your first piece of chipboard, and then you can line the other pieces from that. So, let's get some tape onto our chipboard so we can lay it into place. In one of my recent Happy Meals, someone gave me this basic, B-A-Z-I-C, double-sided tape, and I'll tell you what, I like it a lot. I'm going to order a case of it, I think. It's real cheap. It's cheaper when you buy a case. It's only $1, I think it's $1.99 for a 1-inch width, which I like a lot for doing books. And I'm not real precise, as you can see. It doesn't have to be that fussy. But I like to get at least 3 or 4, if possible 5, good pieces on. And I don't care about if it's straight. It's not, nobody's going to see it. It's just to keep that paper stuck down. You know, I said these were 6.5 by 6.5. They're not. They're 7 by 7. It's the pages that are 6.5 by 6.5. I got kind of carried away there and put them pretty close together. Okay. One of the things I like about this basic tape is that it's got a real nice, easy release, and it's very sticky, which seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? But it does indeed come off quite easily. I mean, I have hardly any fingernails, so I'm able to pull it right off. So, get rid of those. Those little hangy over bits of paper or whatever of the tape, I just fold it under, although at this point it's really not that big of a deal. So here's my little score lines. I don't know how much they show up on the camera, but I'm just going to put the corner of this sheet of chipboard right in that corner and line it up all the way up. And it should line up all the way across, and it does. Voila, happy, happy. There we go. Now, I've made myself a little spacer, just 2 widths of chipboard that I taped together. And when I go to put my spine in place, and then again the next piece, I didn't tape this spine. You should have reminded me. I use that spacer to keep a good distance between that piece of paper. I'm sorry, I bumped the camera. To keep the correct distance between the 2 pieces. I found, again, Ginger was helpful with this, that space gives you your book room to open and close easily without tearing your paper. So you have lots of ease between the sections. So there's that. Get this one. And I'm not going to go through and put the whole book together right now. I'll stop when I get this part done. But I do want to show you how to do your corners. And there we go. And get everything folded under. And just actually, one of the things that is real important is to get your paper trained to fold over the chipboard. And again, that's something I've learned not just from Ginger, but from other crafters as well. But Ginger certainly was instrumental in me learning it first. I watch nearly every one of her videos. So I like to put my ruler along there just to make sure I'm on the straight and narrow. Put my spacer in there. And why is this not coming out right? And it would be on camera. I made a boo-boo. Nanny, nanny, doo-doo. Tape. I'm just going to keep on going, even though I did just make a big boo-boo. Somehow I cut this too short. And I'm just going to go ahead and fix it while you watch, because that's the kind of girl I am. So I'm putting some red line tape along this edge of this extra piece of craft. I use a lot of craft for my covers, so I have a ton of scraps that are almost always about the right size, because I like to make my books in the same size range. Don't need you anymore. So I'll have to trim this off afterwards, but I want to get it on first before my tape is stuck to everything but this paper. So let's flip this over and line this up. And there we go. I'm going to try to remember to make that the back, although it really won't matter. Most of it's going to be covered up anyway. So, let's cut that off at 3/4 or thereabouts. And there we go. So the first thing I like to do, now that I've fixed my boo-boo, is to take my bone folder and go around all of these edges and make a good impression in the paper all along the outside of the book, or the outside of the chipboard rather. This edge probably isn't necessary because we did have that other score line, but it makes me feel better. So, I think, that'll be right. Okay. Then, we cut off our corners, and this is sort of my rule of thumb. I like to leave a fat 1/8 of an inch. If you can see what that is there, that's a good distance from the edge of the corner to the edge of the paper. And if you don't leave yourself that space, when you go to make wrap the paper around, you're going to have bare chipboard showing, and it's just not pretty. If you leave yourself a good space, then it'll look real nice. So, now more tape, but we use the skinnier stuff. And I've got sticky things all over the place here. Okay, so just gonna go right along the outside edge here. just get it all the way around. And I should have put it on the paper itself as well, to do that at the same time.